It actually switched over this morning.
Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to Trackside episode 20.
Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wait a minute, we're not live.
We're not on yet. Okay.
I think we are.
Well, mine's loading up.
I think we are.
Okay, now we are. Good morning, folks, and welcome to Trackside episode 20.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you guys all doing this morning?
I'm trying to get up, see who's here.
I can't hardly read. I can't read the chat and do this at the same time.
We've got Nancy. We've got New Fenris Railroad. Dale PRR
Yep.
Guy Bass. Gary at Barn Full of Trains. Dave BNSF N Scale. Joe Rader. Dwight Curley. Possum Bayou. Humanity Junction. John 2618. David Z to G Scale. Sparky's here. And Shannon Tapia is in the house.
Hey.
We've got Art at PDR Engineer.
That's Art.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Art.
Let's see if I missed anybody.
You're good at that, John.
You did.
Marty
John,
from M&M Short Lines here.
Boom, Marty.
RWC Toyman. I've not seen him before, or her, whoever that may be.
I might have missed him if I
that's
did.
really
Sorry,
exciting.
Ron. Oh yeah,
That's a
there's
great
Ron.
way-
RWC Toyman. Al Mars here. Gary at Big G's Railroad.
Hey, that's great.
Well,
This morning we're going to do.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
This morning we're going to do. I'm going to be quick. This morning we're going to do an extended edition. It's kind of like a side beans edition where we're going to be working and hanging out and talking. I think we're also going to be maybe inviting some others in, but we'll let Steve tell you about that. We'll go up to, I think today, up to and near Vinny's noon premiere. Cousin Vinny's got a premiere at high noon today, Eastern time, and we're going to make sure and be off before that. But we are going to do an extended kind of working edition today, a more casual kind of version, and Steve's going to tell you more about that now. And then I know Claude's got a lot to add as well.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, thank you. This is kind of what we do on Beans. It's nothing scripted. We're just kind of hang out. We've been doing it with Shannon and Claude ever since the Showstopper happened. And first of all, I want to thank John for stepping in and making this thing happen, because it's been a huge help. More on that later, but thank you, John.
Yes, thank you, Darren.
It's my pleasure, guys.
And and also, Brian, thanks for being here too, because I know you're busy. I mean, everybody's busy working from home, but we just come out here and hang out and bull crap and shoot the breeze and work on the layouts. It's amazing how much you get done on it. And anybody that wants to, we'll get the link, in chat. If you guys want to come on, and show us, man, if you work on, just get your stuff out, set up your iPhone and show us what you're doing. That would be super, super fine. But yeah, episode 20, and that's, surprising that we've gone that far. It's been 5 months now that we've done this, and you guys have been a huge part of it. Really appreciate it. And what Claude's been doing, it's incredible. He wanted to save it for his layout update, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. He's going to have to he's going to have to put a blanket over his railroad. So that nobody sees what he's been doing. But it's just incredible what he's got done. Brian's is just growing leaps and bounds. he's got to get more trees made. You know, but we'll figure that out.
He's timber deficient.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to be the guy that's going to be making trees and selling them on eBay.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Claude, and just kind of pick it up. But everybody, thank you for hanging in with us. It's just been fun ride.
Well, yeah, thanks for showing up this morning, guys. Yeah, this what we're going to do today is it's been a lot of fun for us, I know, and Steve and I have even done it not online, but just video chatting during the day sometimes while we're working, and it's amazing how much, like Steve said, how much we get done while we're doing that. I think I actually work more when we're sitting here talking than I do when I'm up here by myself. But anyway, yeah, today I'm going to be plastering the top of the mountain and maybe some of the backside over here. I've got most of the plaster on this big bad boy, but I'm going to do some up here so you can see what I'm doing. Not that it's anything special. It's hydrocal, and I started out with dryer sheets, but we're going to be changing the paper towels because I ran out of dryer sheets. So,
well, we're all going to send you our used dryer sheets, Claude.
Well, just as long as they don't come from Walmart, because my son gave me the ones that he uses from Walmart, and they just fell apart. So the bounce sheets worked pretty good, but the cheapy ones didn't work so well.
Oh, that's good to know, Claude.
Yeah, it made a big difference. I was surprised at how much difference there was in them because they're fibrous, and the bounce sheets hold together really, really well. And I guess he gets them from Walmart. I'm guessing because he's on a pretty tight budget. So they were much thinner sheets when he brought them to me. So yeah, they don't hold up nearly as well.
Well, you've got a whole lot done, so don't show them everything.
Well, I'm not going to give them a tour. They'll have to watch the update later this week for that. So.
Hey, Steve, you got a customer for trees, Steve. Containerman 68 says he'll buy some N-scale trees from you.
Oh boy, now we're starting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roy. We'll just do that.
Y'all, he could go crazy doing this. I'm not playing. I mean, like he could go crazy making trees because I did. Like I had to stop.
I had to stop too because I was running out of room. There's no place to put him anymore.
Hey, Claude, Humanity Junction wants to know if you like hydrocal better than plaster or any other similar items.
I've actually got some sculpt and mold here that I'm going to use, but I'm going to use this for particular places. The hydrocal is fine for doing the shell and making the rock molds, doing the rock molds in the latex molds. It's great for that. Yeah, I don't mind it. And regular plaster Paris, it's very similar to it. Yeah, I can't really tell much difference. I just know that when you mix it, you want to use as cold a water as you can use and sprinkle it in and stir all at the same time. Don't just dump it in and then try to mix it because it'll set up a lot quicker on you. I found that out the hard way. So you just sprinkle it in and stir it the whole time you're mixing it, and it comes out pretty good. And I found out that the thinner I mix it, not the thinner I mix it, but thinner than what I started with, it doesn't set up quite as fast. And then at the bottom of the bucket, I end up with this slurry that I can then scoop up out of the bottom with my hand and spread over the top of some of the places on here to fill them in. And I'll have to go back over when I get all finished with it and smooth some of this stuff out before I start painting. But it's working out pretty good. And I get it from a place that ships it for no shipping, free shipping from New Jersey, which is pretty good. And I just bought another 35 pounds. So it'll be here probably next week. I can finish the rest of the railroad with that, I think. But this was the biggest part.
Let me ask you something, Simon. If I said Simon because you're using 35 more pounds, but
well, I've already. This is almost 50 pounds.
That's what I call
there's a little bit over here too, but this right here is almost 50 pounds with the rocks that I've molded too, and the rocks take up a lot of it. I mean, some of these are pretty thick.
But let me ask you, why are you going to smooth that if you're going to then put rocks on it to make it look rocky?
Well, I'm not really going to smooth it. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you see here?
Mm-hmm.
See these lines? That's,
Yeah.
the sheets. And I'll come in and I'll smooth some of those that look worse than others. Here where I used one of the paper towels so you can see the ribs in it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that will get smoothed out. Not all of it, but there's some of it that's really bad. And I will be going back and touching it up. Not really smoothing it out wasn't the proper term, but just doing some touch up before I put ground cover on it.
Gotcha. I envisioned when you said smooth, I envisioned you making it smooth and then going back and plastering rock castings all over it. I was like, okay.
No, I'm not going to do that. But I will make it, clean it up a little bit in certain places.
I'm muting my mic because I got to cut something.
All right.
I thought you were going to show us your plaster board. Your board. Oh.
So anyway.
So.
Well, all that being done, I'm going to run downstairs and mix up a batch of plaster. So, talk away, Steve. I'll be right back.
So you guys are all disappearing on me. Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's all you, Steve.
You can watch me run trains, but no. Why doesn't somebody jump on this thing? We need you guys to get on here. What I've been doing is trying to squeeze as much as I can down here. And that's just been an interesting process. I would also recommend that you get something for striping roads, not using paint pens. I don't know. They're good. Anybody got any suggestions for striping roads that looks realistic? Because I have had issues with that. I can show you in a close up because you guys never see it. Oh, I'm in the light. So anyway, this is my mess, and I've been trying to squeeze as much into this small space. Basically, it's going to be, a lumber exporter, and let's see, something with cement, some sort of a tank deal, and of course my locomotive scrapper, because Shannon, you still got to get me that diesel block so we can justify that. Also, the blight, the coal mine, this thing doesn't fit. And one other thing, this was kind of fun that we did this on beans. This is my air conditioner hider. I'll probably.
Steve, Humanity Junction wants to know how big your layout and your layout room is.
Okay, it started out as an office when I built my shop. This was an office with an oak desk that I've had ever since I was a kid. Got it from my dad, and it is, I believe it's 8 by 12. So this layout is actually, I can give you the dimensions in a second. It's kind of a small world in the middle here, but it measures from end to end. Let's see, this way is 6.5 feet. So this back wall is 6.5, and I believe this one is 7. So 6.5 with the wall. So minus how many ever square feet. So that's 2.5 by 3. So you got basically 9 square feet. So it's not that big. This is never planned. This was never planned. None of this. This was something for me to come out with the HO stuff and put the little switching layout out here, and then got hooked up with you guys, and now I'm out of control. So and now I get scenery in with Atlas switches. Don't do Atlas switches. Don't do
Steve, Gary at Big G's Railroad has an answer for you. He uses fine tip paint pens with a small piece of balsa wood with a diagram of 10-foot strips and 30-foot gaps in between. That's for your
Interesting.
lining your roads.
For the yeah, these aren't. Well, this is fine. These are fine points. So I don't know. Yeah, it's all an experiment. I've never done scenery before in my life.
And
I've modeled railroaded ever since I was little, but I've never done scenery. So this is a whole new world. Just
there's a lot to learn about this hobby.
oh yeah. Well, the nice thing too is there's always somebody that can help you out and answer your question.
Right.
And I think that's what's so cool. My biggest problem right now is basically the three lift the 1, 2, 3, 4 sections of the lift out. But this back one, I was telling Claude this morning that now since I put in the water down here, I've lost about 5 inches of ability to lean back and lift this out. And with the scenery, it's gotten a little awkward to actually pull out. And so I've got to be able to blend the scenery back. I don't know if you guys can see, back here. And this really just slides out so that I can get in there and lift that out, which I can do. But then what do I do with this mess? It's just got to go back, and yeah, I got to hide the joints. And then we've got to have Joe G's seaport scene down here because this is all going to be, let's see, because you've got, you got the water, which once I did that, I lost all this room to lean back, but I got that, and the pier goes. I take it out. It's removable because I don't want to break it, but we got Jerosi Beach down here and Port Steen in honor of Jim Stein, but there's going to be some sort of a town in here, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I have no idea. I'm serious.
Put some trees in it, Steve.
Well, yeah, I don't need more. No, I gotta have the road comes out of the mountain. This is the no tunnel. I mean, and I don't like gray. That's gonna be black, just like everything else. I don't know. It's just a big.
Did you call it the no tunnel?
The no tunnel.
It's a tunnelless tunnel.
All right.
It's a tunnel without a tunnel portal. It's got a hole in the foam, but I hit it with trees so that I don't have to make a portal for it. You don't see.
Oh, I got a lot of those.
Yeah, see, look, from this angle you can't see it.
Oh. It looks good. Steve.
How about that backdrop? What do you think about that backdrop?
Good, Steve. It does. It looks really good.
That's Claude's backdrop. And you got this one over here, which is, except for the light switches, that kind of sucks. But anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Except Claude's starting to call me. What is it? Steve Ross.
Steve Ross.
Yeah, Steve Ross.
Steve Ross. Yeah. Happy clouds, happy trees.
Hey, Steve, after you painted that cover for the air conditioner, you didn't need that backdrop of mine anyway. You could have painted all of that.
Yeah, but it was good.
I don't think so. No, that backdrop, that makes it. The backdrop.
Yeah, you know what, Steve? He's right. Go ahead and box that up, send that to me. You don't need it.
Hey, Brian, Sparky wants to know if you have more bench work built.
I do. I got bench work all the way around the train shed now. Update coming on that. Thank you for asking, Sparky. We go all the way around now. Now, I can't afford, nor do I have the time, energy, or anything to run track all the way around here yet, because I'm going to inch it around. But what I am doing is I'm going up the wall all the way to the table you can see. I am working on that extension right now. I was going to hope to get that done by the end of the summer, but now working remotely affords me a little more time and stuff. So I'm going ahead and doing that. Finances will probably keep me from having everything up and running for about a month or two, but we'll be close. So, yeah, we're getting ready. Last night I did new bench work here. Okay, so I could take the stuff that was on this table and move it there. So the stuff that was on that table could move here. So the stuff that was on that table could move here. So the train could go there. Now, what I'm going to do next with this stuff, I don't know where it's going to go. I guess I'm going to have to move out of the shed to keep the trains in here. So.
We have to have priorities, Brian.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be able to have I'm going to have to start either keeping my materials in the loft, which is kind of a pain, or keeping them in another room, which is kind of a pain. So I need to kind of organize. That loft up there is 4.5 feet tall, and it's basically an 8 by 10 by 4.5 feet tall room up there. So,
well, be careful, Brian, because you're going to put stuff in your loft. You're never going to use your loft again, because where this camera's sitting is a plywood shelf that was eventually going to be a second level for the barge and all that good happy stuff. But I've got everything up there, all the scenery stuff, all the tools, everything, and it's like, where am I going to put that if I put a layout up there?
Yeah, all my scenery stuff's over there on that half of the layout, and I can't hardly get over there.
Yeah,
like working on this side all the time, and hopefully I can transfer that over here when I have to move over there.
Well, and the other thing I've noticed too is now this is all basically done. I mean, I used to put crap over here and hold it, and now I can't put anything because I'll break something. So everything's starting to condense down into little tiny pieces of tools, and I still can't find anything except I do have my re-railer. That's a funny story.
Yeah, don't lose that.
I'll never lose that. And anybody, you guys probably don't even know about that story. We had Allie on here, and we were doing the beans with Shannon. We were talking, and I was running stuff, and I couldn't find my re-railer. So it's like, crap. How long did I spend looking for that, Claude?
I don't know, 30 minutes at least.
Oh, it was longer than that.
Well, it probably was. I wasn't paying that much attention to you.
And then it's like, how do you lose something? It's like, how do you lose something? And I lose it all the time, and so does Claude. He's losing stuff all the time, and I couldn't find it. And then I stood up one night, I was like, oh crap! It was in my pocket, and I'm sitting on this hard chair, and it's like, no wonder my butt hurt. It's like, so I told him I was never going to lose that again, ever. Might break it, but I'll never lose it.
Steve, Dwight Curley suggests you build another level.
Mm.
Well, I do. That's where all my tools are. Everything up here. Look, see. All my stuff, and that's where I'm dropping things. Plus, my other side with my shop and all my tools, my power tools, my ride-on train, everything moves back and forth. This gets in the way, so I move it out there. Then I do something out there. That stuff's in the way, I move it back in here. So I'm gonna have to add on, I guess. I'm gonna have to put an extension out here in the yard, knock that wall out maybe, and yeah.
And
Hello,
Claude, Humanity Junction wants to know if you ever used cheap cheesecloth with a hydro towel.
No, I haven't, but that would probably work. But I would, if you're going to do that, make sure it's going to hold together for you. Because once you put the plaster in it and you start draping it like this, it wants to come apart. At least that's what happened with the cheaper dryer sheets. The bounce dryer sheets, like I said, are pretty fibrous and hold together pretty well. But the cheaper ones, and I don't know that he got them from Walmart, but that would be my guess. That they just, I mean, I would try to do this with them and stretch them out. And these are cheap paper towels, but they hold together better than those did.
I tried the cheesecloth, and it's just too thin to work with. I prefer the paper towels myself.
Yeah, the paper towels work well, and the only reason I went with the paper, like I say, with those is because the dryer sheets I ran out of. And the only drawback to the dryer sheets is it takes a while to collect them all, but
Right.
then they're not as big either.
Yeah.
That one. But the paper towels are, cover faster, but they're not quite as stout as the dryer sheets are. They work though. Oh, the other thing I want to tell everybody is if you're going to use plaster of any kind, cover your track.
Absolutely.
Make sure you've got it covered because, and cover anything you don't want plaster on because it will get there.
And don't say that you're just, I'll be real careful. Claude and I were talking about that. It's like, I'll be careful, I won't. And you're going to slop it on something again.
Oh, yeah. It's real easy.
Okay.
And this is starting to set up on me.
You don't have to do that, Claude.
What's that?
You don't have to cover your track. All you have to do,
No, you don't have to. If you want to put trains on it ever again, you will.
you have to attend Sparky's Wednesday night live stream, apply for his contests, and win. I want a track cleaning set. You don't need to cover your track. Just go to Sparky's Wednesday night live stream.
Well, I would go to Sparky's Wednesday night live stream if evenings are bad for me for doing that kind of thing until 9 o'clock my time.
Oh, I got you.
I have the same problem. I don't catch too many evening live streams because I just can't. Okay. I am going to, what am I going to do? What can I do without breaking?
I won't be long. Not that y'all will miss me.
Brian, we're going to miss you.
Bring these over here.
Okay. I'm going to pull that thing out because I'm going to paint the road because I got nothing else to do. So let's see.
Steve, Sparky suggests that you build a level above the windows just to run a train around and go G-scale.
I've got one. It's up there.
All right.
See? Sorry. Way ahead of you. I'm out of control. I told you guys that. Out of control. The only thing left to do is to build a railroad around my yard, which if I had the money, I would do that. I would definitely do that.
Yeah, then you could run your 1.5-inch scale trains.
Yeah, exactly. But that is an expensive hobby. That's not. Oh boy.
Oh, I can imagine.
That rail runs. The steel rail is running about. I think the last thing I thought was about $3 a foot, $3.50 a foot.
Wow.
So if you got an 8-foot panel in 2 rails, do the math. Plus you got to do the ties, and it can get really expensive. The aluminum rail is about half that. But most people use that, but a lot of the clubs are going to the steel rail because of the maintenance problems, because the outside curves tend to wear the wheels on the trains are steel. So, steel wheels on aluminum rail, it doesn't take long to wear out the outside curves. So a lot of the clubs are going to steel rail. Sacramento, here in California, they've converted all to steel. Train Mountain has always been steel.
Okay.
That place is incredible. And if anybody ever gets out to Oregon, you got to check out Train Mountain. But right now they're closed.
Oh, I've seen your videos. It looks amazing.
You know what really? Well, I can't. I don't know if I can't say. I can't say that because we're doing. It's unfortunate. Let's put it unfortunate that I waited that long to paint that thing, and it looked great. I was it. Honestly, it turned out way better than I thought it would.
It looks fantastic.
Okay, it looks good. Now put it back in the shop, cover it up, and I can't run it.
Right.
Because nothing's open. Take it to.
Yeah, well, that's temporary. You'll run it again, and it does look great.
I will. Yeah, it turned out cool. But Claude is plastering, right? Okay.
This is what I was telling you about, Brian, smoothing. That's all I'm doing is that right there. It's not really smoothing as such. I'm just trying to cover some of the seams and go back over any of the loose spots with what ends up being the slurry at the bottom of the bucket when it starts to set up.
God, this sucker's heavy. You want me to ship this to Brian?
My goodness.
Am I going to ship that to you?
What? Look at that thing. Jeez.
Well, like I said, the sucker is heavy.
I bet it is. My God.
What is it? Oh, that pull-out piece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had a big pull-out piece.
I want to get it.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
I want to get that to the point where I never have to take it out again because it's a pain in the butt.
Oh my God.
Well, and then I have to figure
there.
out a way to blend it in. So I'm just going to keep the real black walls out. But yeah, it's the no pun. Here, now you guys can see it close up. It's the no tunnel. Just doesn't go anywhere. It just whoops. And so I hit it with the trees so that I don't have to deal with it. But it's got the dead fall and all that good happy stuff, all the happy trees.
Claude, Humanity Junction wants to know if you're building that mountain to scale or just building it to the ceiling.
No, this is the top right there. No, it was strictly to have a way because I really didn't plan a helix. It turned out to be a helix. But my original plan before this plan was to go to the second deck without using helix. And when I changed the track arrangement to get more of what I wanted in the plan, it ended up being a helix because I've got my 2 reverse loops for my standard gauge on the bottom. Then the narrow comes in right here. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, yep. Not quite. And I've got dirty hands, so I can't move the camera. I'll show it to you here in a minute. But it'll come in right here and then comes out up here on the summit. And on the other side, I've got a couple of trestles over there that it'll kind of peek out as it's going up.
Oh, a suggestion. I don't know if anybody does it or is aware of these fan brushes. They look like that. These are really good. They come in really handy for painting. So if you've never used them, I would suggest them. These are actually. I've got. Let's see what. 1, 2, 3. I did paint some Bob Ross stuff, so I actually So I still got my paintbrushes from my Bob Ross kit from 30 years ago.
I recognize them.
30 years ago. And they're white. I was probably going to say something. Yeah, look at that. Here we go.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, see?
Now you just need the afro.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have enough hair for an afro.
There's where the narrow gauge comes in the mountain. And then it will come out back up here on the other side. But this is what I did this morning, was just this top part. And that was the last of my plaster that I have right now. So I got a little bit back on that side done. But I'll show you the rest of it in the update.
Yeah, you got to have a teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser, a little promo. That's why I only do mine once a month, so I've actually got something to show people. Otherwise, it'd just be me talking, and that's no fun.
Well, no, I like that because that's all we ever do is come out here and talk. And That's what we do.
Yeah. So now you can't see me on the other side of the mountain if I get over there. And I don't really have anything. Oh, I can lay some cork up here.
Sorry if I'm showing you the back of my head.
One of the problems I have is my videos are 2 months behind my layout because of editing. And then if you go live every Saturday, people already see where your layout's at.
I was just gonna say, I was looking at stuff, and it's like, why don't you just give an update? Because I can see.
Yeah, that's right.
I will be right back, guys.
Okay. Well, we'll be here. Oh my goodness. Paint your road before you put your trees in.
Oh, I was going to show. Hang on, I got the address of the place I got the plaster from. I was going to show that to everybody. Let me go grab it.
So what do people think about this format of just being kind of doing goofy stuff like this? That's something. Oh my goodness. I don't know what we're gonna do when the showstopper's over and Shannon's back to work and we can't come out here and do this anymore because we kind of enjoyed doing it. Because Claude and I are not tech savvy, and that's why you're here, John.
What's that, Steve?
Well, I said that's why you're here because Claude and I aren't tech savvy. We can't get this stuff live.
No problem.
We can make fools of ourselves, but we can't do it live.
Well, I'm good at that too.
So, John,
Yes, sir.
I am curious about the happenings on the Schuylkill River Valley. I have heard about some track work. I've heard about some turnout realignments. I've heard about, why don't you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I moved one of my turnouts. I moved it back about 3 inches just to. It looks better where it is now, and it'll run a little bit smoother. But I had to seriously modify my benchwork to do that. I had supports in the wrong spot, and I had to widen the benchwork a little bit to handle it. But I got that all done. The turnout and the tracks in place. And I'm down to about 5 sections of flex track, and I'll have all the track finished.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, for 3 of my lines, the small industrial line won't have enough flex track, so I have to wait till I can get some for that. But that's just a small switching area.
And so you don't have a loop, right? You got A to B.
No, I have a loop.
But which parts you got? You got an A to B line, right?
Well, I have 2 A to B lines,
Okay.
and then 2 lines that run in a continuous loop.
Okay. And then your switching thing you're talking about?
The switching is one of the A to B.
Okay, so there's 4 total.
4 total, right?
Gotcha. All right. That's what I was curious.
The real A to B, that will just be automated because that just runs from one terminal to the other. And that's my interurban commuter line. Humanity
I thought I
Junction,
was
yes.
ambitious, John.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I thought I was ambitious.
Well, this is a small room, so I'm squeezing a lot in there.
Wait till you make trees, Claude. You think you're ambitious. Wait till you have to fill your mountain.
Oh, I know. Well, that's where the family comes in. They're all waiting for all the scenery. They want to do scenery. They didn't want to do anything else.
And Humanity Junction, yes, I do have the Schuylkill River running through a couple sections of my layout. Only a couple feet of it in each section, of course, but it's there.
Well, I talked to John a pretty good bit. So and I have he's very secretive about his layout. I just still don't know what the whole thing looks like all together, the big picture all running together. I guess he's going to surprise us. When are we going to have an update?
I have like hours of footage. I just have to edit it and get it together.
You got to have time to do it, don't you?
Right.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because Gary, Big G, he just put out it running his daylight, and you got to see what his full layout looked like.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome.
It's pretty good.
See bits and pieces of it, and it's like, that is awesome.
For anybody
yeah.
who wants to know, this is where I got the plaster from. They're called Plaster Guys. There's their website. And if you use reorder on the thing, you get $2-3 off of your order. It's not a lot, but it's something.
Hey, that helps.
But I found them on eBay, and they were by far the cheapest place. I got the first batch of 25 pounds for like $33 shipped. So I thought that was pretty reasonable because it's not a it's not a lightweight package. So shipping 25 pounds costs some money. So if you get free shipping out of it,
oh yeah, that's a big thing when it comes
save
to
some
plaster.
money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they've got all kinds of plaster. They've got, lab plaster and dental stone and ortho plaster, snap stone, impression plaster, railroad scenery plaster, which is what I'm using. And they've got it in a quick set and a slow set. And I recommend you get the slow set,
Right.
because it dries within half an hour anyway. So like I say, this stuff I put on here, it's already firmed up. I mean, it's not coming off on my hands. So it's still wet, but it's not mushy wet or runny wet.
Right.
And in 24 hours, it'll be hard. So anyway, for those that want to use it, but it is messy. Cover up everything you don't want to get plaster on because it'll get everywhere. Well, you can see here where I covered the track.
Yep.
And like right there, I mean, it gets everywhere. So you want to make sure that you cover everything. All righty. Now I don't know what I'm going to do because I was going to put more plaster on, but I don't have any more plaster. So I got to find something to do.
Yeah, do a black road. Don't do gray. Just do black. It looks better once you get
Yeah, it does.
black is much better.
Hey, Steve,
So
Roy wants you to know that StreamYard is real easy. Even a monkey can operate it.
I'm sorry. I was at earshot. Say that again.
Roy wants you to know that StreamYard is real easy to use. Even a monkey can operate it.
Well, it's above my pay grade then.
Thank you, Roy. Then I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
I'm not qualified
Oh.
because I lost the section. I don't know what I did with it. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, I'm back. There we go.
We pain in the butt. Oh. All right. Come on.
Is that
So
subwoofer
where's
you're putting in there, Brian?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And it's a little bit too big. Dang it. Dang, 1/4 of an inch too long. I got to cut again. All right. But yes, sir, I'm going to show y'all in a minute. I actually probably might get some opinions because I'm going to draw it out. And I'm sure that my thinking, although incredible, will have many flaws.
Oh, you are sharp. You are sharp.
Will have many flaws. I keep discovering flaws in my plans. But fortunately, there are people around here in this community that are a whole lot smarter than me.
Isn't that great?
It's a good thing, isn't it?
We can lean on when we don't know what we're doing, and they say, why'd you do it that way? Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if y'all cost me money or save me money. I do a lot more modeling because of y'all, but I have to do a lot less remodeling because of y'all too. So,
Well, you got a doctorate in building a layout for no money, man. I tell you what, you come up with are great, and they work.
well, I kind of worry about how all this is going to fare in a couple of years. You know, I worry about if it's going to hold up. I do like that it looks more organic than most. The thinner hardboard and everything, and the skewers and all that stuff. But I do worry a little bit about it a couple of years from now. I just don't know how it's going to be then. But you know, hey, I'll redo it. That'll be fun.
Right.
Well, do a video.
Well, I'm sure we can count on that, Steve.
So where's Container Man? Where are you at, Roy? You getting back to my area?
Yeah, Roy, where are you?
I owe you a beer.
Oh, that might get him there a little quicker.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't stop the last time he was going through, and I by the time I knew he was close, I couldn't get out to the freeway to get a picture of him. And that's the second time he's been here, and I missed him the first time.
He doesn't make it out to my part of the world too often. Roy's in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Oh, sweet! Grab some pictures out there. Yeah. Uncle Pete. Long time since I've been to Cheyenne.
Just dump everything.
He says he's on his way home.
Well, that's a good thing.
How long are you going to be home for, Roy?
Okay, I'm gonna blame it on Steve.
Oh, well, okay.
It's all Steve's fault.
It's my fault. I take the blame. I probably lost it.
Just because you mentioned it earlier.
I probably lost it. If you're missing it, I probably lost it.
You know, it's in here somewhere. I know it is because I wouldn't have taken it out. It's just, where did I put it?
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have.
Well, and it's not a small item. I mean, it's that I was going to show Shannon those turnout motors that I'd gotten from that place he was telling me about. And actually, I'm going to offer them up to somebody if they want them. If they got Pico turnouts, especially, because that's what they show them working with. And they probably work really good with that. They didn't work for me because they just weren't quite strong enough to keep the points over. But with a Pico and snapping, I think they would work a lot better. But I can't find them. So if I can't find them, I can't give them to anybody.
That's true.
I'll find them somewhere. They're in here somewhere.
Oh, crap. Let's see.
Well, Steve, Roy's going to be home for about 40 hours or so.
That's pretty good. That's usually about how long I was gone. When I left home, I probably was gone for anywhere from 36 to 40 hours. Then I was home for 8 hours, and then I was gone again for 2 days. So yeah, I kind of get his schedule. Truck drivers and railroaders kind of share that.
Sure.
Actually, so do airline pilots. They kind of deal with the same thing. I remember just being exhausted all the time. I mean, I called it eternal jet lag because you were never rested.
Right.
I mean, one day you're working at 3 in the afternoon. The next day you're working at 6 in the morning. Then you're working at 3 in the morning, and it's you never got to sleep. Truck drivers, I think, got it a little bit better.
Well, don't know. I'll find it. I'll offer it up here at some point.
Gotta fix. Where's my roller? There's my roller.
I don't know what to do with myself now.
Nah,
I was planning on plastering the whole time, and I'm not a plasterer, so I gotta find something else to do.
Oh boy, you're screwed then. Yeah.
Well, I may take this cardboard off this backdrop where I said I was going to put that backdrop up. Take it off.
Look at all that stuff that's hidden, Claude. You know, the backdrop that you can't see.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the nature of it. I mean, you don't want to be able to see really right to the bottom edge of the backdrop usually, because then it doesn't look right.
We'd like to have raised it up, but it is what it is.
Steve, Roy says he can only drive 11 hours in a 14-hour window and then has 10 hours off.
Okay. Well, we worked 12 hours, but then it was called being dead on the hours for service law. So if you work 12 hours, you could not work again for 10. But if you worked 11 hours and 59 minutes, then they could put you back at 8 hours. So. That's when you tied up. That was what was weird with the railroad. It was always on the 1 minute. You went to work at 11:59, or you went to work at 3:59. They could make it 4. It was, so that was a railroad thing, I guess.
And Roy says that's every day up to 80 hours in 7 days, and then 34 hours off.
Okay. Well, the bottom line is you're working your butt off.
Yeah, right. And especially right now, I'm sure.
geez.
Oh yeah, and thank you to the truckers, man. You guys are holding everything together.
Oh, we'd be lost without them right now. We'd be lost without them anytime, especially right now.
Yeah, well, especially now.
Okay.
Noise.
Nate,
Making too much noise.
you need some cardboard lattice?
You got a great way of doing that too.
I'll send it to you. This is old fashioned. This is old school here, isn't it? Isn't it, John?
Yeah, it sure is.
But
That's
it's
the way
cheap
I do
way.
it.
And I was showing Brian or Steve the other day. I had the phone down in the shop, and I was showing him how I cut this on the bandsaw. Make strips. It goes a lot faster than using a razor blade.
Oh, I can imagine. I use the razor blade.
Yeah, the bandsaw's a lot quicker. I can fill up a big box in 15 minutes
Sure.
and never have to change the blade. That's the other good thing.
Yeah, right.
And it's real clean. It doesn't make a mess.
No, yeah, it was. Well, I had the vacuum on it too, but it does make a little dust, a little paper dust right there at it, but it's not bad. Okay, that'll go
Gary
right there.
at Big G's Railroad says you're showing your age, Claude.
Me, yeah.
Claude's older than I am.
And I just turned 63 last Wednesday.
And you're always going to be older than I am.
Mm.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that's what I keep telling my wife. She's 6 months older than I am, so I keep telling her she's always going to be older than me.
Yeah, I'm sure that goes over big.
You know it does.
Well, you're not.
Not
you're
as
not
much as
older
when
by
I tell
much.
other people that.
Yeah, right.
Well, you're not older than me by much, though, Claude.
No, I just got you by a couple of months. Well, that's the way my wife, she's only got me by a couple of months. But see, she got a lot more brains than I've got too. So
You're still always going to be older than I am, though.
yeah, that's true.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Well, Roy says that when he's hauling relief supplies, toilet paper, water, paper towels, and sanitizer, then the rules have been lifted. He can drive as long as he can, but still get enough sleep to not cause an accident.
Isn't it amazing that toilet paper now is a relief supply?
I thought it was always a relief supply.
Yeah, right.
Does anybody realize that you can survive without toilet paper?
I don't
yeah.
think they do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
folks
that's my
survived
grandmother.
before we had toilet paper.
Yes, they did.
Well, you know, this whole
Yeah,
thing
toilet
just, it's like, what's important in people's lives? When the world falls apart, what's important?
Toilet paper.
Yeah.
Now,
Chuck says happy birthday, Claude.
Oh, thank you.
oh, it was your birthday?
Yeah, they keep coming. I don't know what the deal is on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
think it was
I
last
keep trying to
week.
forget mine, but they won't let me.
No.
I think it was last week, right?
Yeah, it was the 15th, tax day.
Oh, that's right, tax day.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, tax day this year is July 15th.
Well, that's what I kept telling my wife. I said, yeah, they moved back the date to the 15th of July for if you owe money.
Right.
But you had to file by the 15th of April. Is that right? Isn't that right, John?
That's the way it was originally, but that's been changed.
Oh, did they change it again?
Yeah,
Okay.
they moved the day completely to July 15th now.
To the 15th.
Yeah. And every state I know of has done the same thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John would know.
Yes, John would know. And he was sitting right here, and I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, I know that all too well. It looks like Roy doesn't haul any of that stuff, so he's not allowed to break the rules. I guess that's a good thing, huh, Roy?
Probably.
Yeah, because he drives a flatbed, I think, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
And if you're putting toilet paper on a flatbed, man, you'd have people shooting at you and everything else.
Yeah, they'd just be following him around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you driving? Roy was coming down to Grant's house, and it's like, what are you driving? He goes, a truck. Okay. Makes sense.
All right. Hey, look,
Oh,
I can picture a commercial. These guys sitting in a truck, in a beer truck, you know, and then these girls, you know, waving and honking at the toilet paper truck driver instead of the beer truck driver on the commercial. You know?
yeah.
You should sell that, Brian. That's a good idea.
Well, I saw a thing. You guys probably all saw it too, but it's a picture of a guy in a car, a lady of the evening in the window going, I'll do whatever for $100. He goes, you cut hair?
Yeah. Yeah, ask my dogs about that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Oh, my little one's getting shaggy. Oh, boy, she's getting shaggy.
Well, yeah, my wife's got that little Morkie, and she didn't cut her body, but she cut her face around her face and stuff. Keep it out of her eyes, and so she looks like she got this little bitty head now and this great big body.
My little one keeps walking into the pond.
Into the pond.
She can't. I'm just teasing, but no, she can't see all that hair's growing over her eyes. She can't see.
Yeah. Well, now Aussie that I've got, I did her with the clippers, and it's a good thing she didn't have to show anybody. Okay, got that done. That's going to go there. Okay, this can come out of there for now. Now, I had something in my mind what I was going to do, and I forgot what it was.
Now you're definitely showing your age, Claude.
Oh, man, it's all the time, John, all the time.
Hey, I'm with you.
I'm still looking
I'm curious,
for that.
John.
What's that?
How many do we have in chat right now?
29.
Oh. Okay, well, that's cool. Nobody wants to watch.
We've got absolutely nothing to do today.
Yeah. Well, that's what we find. You know, anybody that watches Beans, I think we hit what, 11 or something.
Are we going to announce the winners today?
Oh yeah, we need to do that. You got them there, Brian?
I do not.
You do not.
I don't have those. Those are not in my pocket.
Oh.
I do think somebody might have some stuff available and ready on that, though.
Well, I heard who they were, but I don't know if it was official.
Well, that's what I went back and looked, and then I put it on the chat, and you guys were supposed to back me up on that I was right.
Yeah, that's all been taken care of, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. So we know who's got it?
I think we do. Now I'm gonna do what I always do in this situation. John, we got it taken care of.
Hey, I'm ready on my end, but I don't know who the
I know
winners
you
are.
are, and that's why I said that. Go ahead, John.
Hey, I'm ready on my end, but I don't know who the winners are.
Well, go ahead, bud.
Oh, I'd have to go. Let me go downstairs and see if I've got it down there.
All right.
Yeah, I can look on my phone.
I'm not trusting my memory.
Okay.
Well, I don't give it
I'm gonna let's see. Try. Let's see if I can get him before Claude does, because I'm off. Oh God, gosh, we've been chatting a lot. Let's see. I think Claude's gonna have to get it.
Yeah, Shannon, we do have an intermission video. We'll be playing
No,
that
Claude's gonna
once
have
we
to do
announce
it.
the winners here.
Yeah, I take me too long to find it. Claude knows who it is. I don't want to be wrong anyway.
All right, we'll wait for Claude.
How is Shannon? How are you doing, Shannon? It's good to have you in chat.
Yeah, buddy. Shannon's the man, I tell you.
Well, I hope you found them.
Oh, are you serious? Okay.
There's
Well, I can
Gracie.
look on the phone and find them. I thought I had them written down there still. Let
Okay,
me
I
look.
was looking on my phone.
I think she's getting bigger,
She's a
Brian.
cute little thing.
Yeah, she is. Hey, I started wearing these reading glasses after Michael McCarville mentioned that Saturday, and they work really well. I look like a bigger geek than I did before, but that's okay. They work really well.
As long as you can see better, that's all that counts.
Well, I can see better for modeling. I don't know if I can see better for driving or anything, but yeah, for what I'm doing, I can. So I don't know if I'm going to blind y'all or not.
Hey, Brian, if you really need to see for modeling, I would recommend getting these guys. Get something like that.
Yeah, I got a pair of them.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I got them.
Okay.
You want me to announce them?
Go ahead, bud.
Okay. Excuse me. N scale, Justin Johnson
That was it.
was N scale winner, and HO's winner was Chris Birchfield.
All right, Justin Johnson.
The number was 26, by the way.
Too bad it wasn't.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, congratulations, guys.
If you will put your address in an email and send that to the Back on Track email that should be located in the description, we will get those out to you quickly. We appreciate y'all coming and participating and getting the count up to 50. Thank y'all very much for that.
I think it's backontrackmoderators@gmail.com.
Yes, that's correct. And it'll be on the screen in a minute.
And I got it right in the first take. But then I give a shout out to you, Claude, for the backdrop, and I say the Cowboy Valley and Timber Railroad.
Oh, that's okay.
Roy wants to know what they want. Do we have the prizes handy? Roy wants to know what they won.
Yeah,
this really nice roller. This is really cool. Comes in really handy. Oh, and for the end scale, here, wait a minute. We got this really awesome little truck. You know, so
truck.
Well, if I remember right, it was the end scale was a Kato.
It's a Kato RS11.
RS11 undecorated.
Undecorated, and it's also DCC equipped. So we'll get that out.
Brian's showing off his layout. Well, you got up there, did you? You said you were going to get there.
Holy crap! You've been busy, Brian.
I got to cut it all and get it where it goes. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
What did you say the HO was again, Steve?
It's a box car that going to be. We're still working out the details on it, but we're going to try to do the similar to the traveling box car. That's so we're working on that. But you guys want them, and you're definitely getting them. So. Eventually. We're not quick, but we're accountable. We are accountable. But, I can't find it. Yeah, I know where I put that. Well. Well, I guess it's finally happened. I've completely lost my mind. It finally happened. I don't know where I put those turnout motors.
You'll find them when you stop looking for them.
Yeah, exactly. I'll trip over them.
Yep.
Well, they're probably laying right here in plain sight. That's what'll piss me off. Check your pockets. Exactly. Well, it's not big enough to go. I mean, it's too big to go in my pockets, but that's what I mean. It's not smaller. The package is like this long and yay wide, and I put them back in the package so they'd all be together. But I don't know what the heck I did with them.
Did you plaster them into your mountain?
Yeah, I don't think so. I hope not.
Check your plaster bucket.
Yeah. Well, if they're in there, then they're not going to be any good for anybody. The bad thing is, I seems like I set something on top of it the other day. Remember doing that, but I don't know what it was. And I picked up everything I can think of in here. Look.
Gary at Big G wants to know what brand they are, Claude.
They are DCC Concepts, and they're an Australian company. But I found this one in the States when I just did a Google search, and a hobby shop came up that had it, and so I got it from here. I didn't have to get it from Australia. So they are carried here in the States, and they work good for what they are. They're slow motion surface mount turnout motors. It just didn't have enough beef on the threads, I think, and they build in it's a horizontal motor with a screw with all thread, and then the rod moves back and forth on there that you put your turnout on, and it's made to strip without stripping. I don't know how they do that, but that's what one guy told me that I was working with on it, and it just wouldn't push my points because mine don't have a spring in them. It wouldn't push the points good and tight against the stock rail.
Okay.
Either way, they'd go all the way over, but they wouldn't,
Wouldn't hold
really
it tight.
press into it. Yeah. So, and with this HON3 stuff, they're finicky enough and lightweight enough that if you don't get it just so, it's not going to work.
Sure.
So, I ended up just putting in, and I'll show this on the update so you guys can see it. I went through 2 or 3. Steve can collaborate this. I went through 2 or 3 different ways of doing that particular turnout. It's this. It's this little turnout. Oh, hello. It's that turnout right there.
Okay.
And you can see at one point I was going to do a remote from this side.
Right.
And this is why I had to do something, because it would have been covered up in here.
Okay.
There's no way to get to it. So I was going to put in a pull out here. And then I got to thinking, well, it's in this little valley. It'll really be tough with scenery and to make it where you can't see it. And I even thought about putting a hatch in the top that I could pull the whole thing out this way. And I thought that's just going to be so convoluted that it wouldn't be worth doing. So anyway, the turnout motor is actually over there by that stud finder.
Okay.
It's very close to that stud finder. It's where the turnout motor is, but it works this really well now. And I had to do some scratch building on the motor itself, on the connection to the push rod. And the push rod is actually something that they use with RC airplanes all the time. It's a nylon outer rod with a plastic inner rod, and it slides in and out real smooth. You don't have to lube it or anything. And then it uses all threads in the ends. Well, I had to come up with something on the far end where it hooked into the turnout motor so that it would operate properly and stay in a linear motion pushing that rod, because
right.
As you know, a tortoise does this.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'll come up and I'll bend it and then that'll push it. Well, it doesn't, because it would just lean over like that, and all it wanted to do is go up and down. It didn't want to push it in and out.
Okay.
So I had to come up with something else where I could put the wire from the tortoise through it, and that would push it back and forth this way.
Right.
So I did that. I used some G10 material, which is a fiberglass board, reinforced fiberglass board, epoxy board, like kind of similar to PC boards.
Okay.
That you'd use in a computer. Get that from an industrial supply place, and I was using those on airplanes for control horns. And I thought of that, and it's real stiff, and you can drill holes in it, and it wears like iron. So I used that and fashioned something that I could actually sandwich up on the top to hold one of the. Let me get it here. One of the PC board ties.
Right. These
are copper on both sides with the reinforced stuff in the middle, and that's what they use for the ties for the turnouts and stuff when you solder them together. So I'm using that, and I drilled a hole in one end of it. Soldered on this, I soldered the all thread that goes into the nylon, but then I had to fashion something to keep this straight, both horizontally and vertically.
Okay.
And
right.
So that's where I used the G10 material and kind of sandwiched it in there. So now when it turns, it just slides in and out and works like a champ.
Cool.
So that's some of the stuff I like doing, is figuring out the problems. You got a problem, figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. That is fun.
Yeah, it's I enjoy that part. I like doing that when I was doing airplanes too. So it comes in handy if you can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
But my wife looks at me and goes, "How did you think of that?" I said, "Well, you think of it a piece at a time,
Yep.
And sometimes it's trial and error. You try something, it doesn't work. You say, "Okay, how can I make that part of it work then?" And you just go from there.
Sure.
That's how they invent anything, I think.
That's right. Chuck wants to know what you're using for your reverse loop. Are you using an AR1, and do you use insulated rail joiners?
Yes, I'm using insulated rail joiners on that. I also put in on the each end of the loops, because both of mine are loops, a section about 8 to 12 inches long that is powered just like the track, the regular track, not the reversing track, but it's powered the same way, but it's insulated separately on both ends of that.
Okay.
With its own feeders. And the reason for that is so that your reversing polarity doesn't have to get back to the AR1 through a turnout or anything.
Okay.
Okay. So you're getting direct power just the other side of the now you could get away from that if you wired just on each side of the insulators.
Right.
You could probably do the same thing.
Okay.
But this guy was from New Zealand or Australia one that showed how he overcame a problem he was having on one. And I just followed what he did and it worked like a champ.
Cool.
I haven't had a bit of problem with it. And then on my, the turnouts that go into the loop, I'm using a product from Azatrax that, in fact, hang on a second, I got one here. I haven't put the other one in yet. Oh, where's it? Yeah, see, that's what I get for saying I got it here. Well, I can't find it right offhand, but it's an automatic turnout control that wires to the tortoise, and it uses a couple of infrared sensors, one before the loop and one on the loop on the branch coming out of the loop. And what it does is it makes that switch, that turnout, act like a spring switch, a real life spring switch.
Okay.
But in models, as you know, we can't do that because the trains are too light to make a spring switch practical. It just derail the train.
Sure.
So this moves it, and then once the train passes the sensor again, it pushes it back over, so it's back in the same route. So the trains will always go in the same way and always come out the same way.
Oh, that's cool.
And it works. That works really well too.
Yeah.
And they're not very expensive. So I've got one of each of those for the two loops. Now up on the top, up here on the summit, I'll have a Y up here for reversing, and I'll use just another AR1 up here on it also.
Right.
But I won't need any spring switch kind of automatic switch kind of stuff for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the AR1s work good if they're wired properly.
All right. Well,
that
Shannon
answers the
did leave us. I'm sorry, Claude. Go ahead.
I said I hope that answers this question.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, he did follow up here. With an AR1, you don't have to have sensors or anything, do you?
No.
Okay.
It senses the short circuit, and it's got an adjustment on it, and the instructions with the AR1 are very, very clear. I know when Roy down in Panama was trying to do a reverse on his, and I was watching his video on it, and he set it up, and he was telling us how he was insulating the track. Well, he only insulated one rail. And I immediately was going, no, Roy, that's not right. You got to do both rails on both ends of the reversing loop, and then it'll work. And that's all he would have had to do. Instead, he changed his track around so he didn't have that problem, but which is, you can do. In his case, it worked just fine.
Right.
But he could have done it by just insulating both rails, and it would have worked.
And Chuck says, do you wire the AR1 before the Y?
No, the AR1 gets wired. Okay, you draw power off your track before the Y. Okay. And then you take the AR1, and I wired both sides of the Y coming out of the AR1. They only show you one coming out to your reverse loop. So you got one going to your reverse loop. The power coming in off your deal comes to the AR1. It goes to your reverse loop. I did two, but I just put two wires in each contact coming out. That way I had power, because mine's a 5-foot diameter loop. So that way it was like putting a drop feeder in every 3 feet or so.
Right.
So that's why I did two, but you wouldn't have to do that. You could do just one. Excuse me. But anyway, yeah, they're really easy to do. And like I say, if you have any trouble, look up on YouTube, AR1 wiring problem or something like that. But this guy's from New Zealand or Australia one, I'm not sure which. But he explains it very, very well. A little bit comical in it, how he does it, but he does a good job of explaining how to wire it. And I wired it that way, and man, I have no problems with it at all.
Great.
Trains never hesitate, none of that stuff.
Excellent.
So
Well, Shannon did send us in an intermission video. I guess we should get to that, huh?
yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good video too.
Yeah, it is. All right. Give me a minute, folks. I'll switch over here.
See if I can find it.
Good morning, everyone. It's Shannon here from the Back on Track team. Excuse us if you hear any wind. Anyway, just doing this video to, say hello to you guys and, let you know that I haven't disappeared completely. A few things have happened in my life personally that I have to deal with. And, so I need to give my full attention to that before committing my attention again back to the channel and the team. Well done, everyone, for helping promote the channel. And I hear we finally got 50 people in the chat last week. So well done. Currently I've got to talk to Steve and organise with him to get the Cato RSC unit out to him for the N-Scale prize winner. Apart from that, I also have to organise the travelling boxcar. The HO1 just came in the other day, thanks to the Postal Service. Unfortunately, Postal Services, because of the showstopper, is causing a lot of delays, but apart from that, just wanted to say hello and yeah, well done everyone, well done to the team, and hope you're all having a good time with the show. Now, apart from that, I'll just give you a look what I'm doing right now. Taking a walk down a railway line. This is the Mornington Preservation Society Tourist Railway. From memory, I think actually I can't remember what year the society came about, but I do know that they started running small cart excursions in about 95, 94, 95, and then around 96, 97 they started running some diesel excursions with an old T-class, as we call it here. Apart from that, I think it was about 96, 97, they finally got the K-class 280 consolidation steam locomotive running. So K163, which currently at the moment she is being overhauled at the Western Port workshop, which is where she was originally built. I think it's called the Western Port Workshop. If I got that wrong, I know I'm going to get a lot of slap from a lot of the Australian modelers. Anyway, bit of a hike. Been walking for about, I don't know, an hour now. But yeah, anyway, enjoy the rest of the show. Hope you all enjoy. And yeah, if any of you want to have a look at the, any photos of this railway line, just go to Google. As I said, Mornington Railway Preservation Society. That's who runs this railway. And yeah, it's a great little piece of Australian history down where I live. So check them out. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the show.
Well, thank you, Shannon, for that intermission video. The Preservation Society Railroad looks pretty good. Guys are doing a good job on it.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, good to hear from you.
Thanks everybody for hanging in with us too.
Yes.
John, I have a technical question.
Okay.
You might, one of y'all maybe can answer quicker than me. How far can I go up in 8 feet and not exceed 2.5%? Or 2.7 maybe, you know.
Well, 2.7% gives you 2.6 inches.
So 2.5
Damn,
inches.
you did that fast.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
I do that for a living, Steve.
Oh,
Yeah.
no wonder you got his helix like that, man. It'd take me 10 years to figure that out.
The helix was a different ball game, I think, but it worked out. Jeez. So yeah, 2.5 inches. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, wait.
We don't say uh-oh on here.
Wait. No, I'm good. Never mind, because it starts, it's 2 inches above the table where it starts. Thank goodness.
No, see, it scares it, you know, when either I or Claude say uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
No, I don't enjoy things.
No, uh-oh's not good.
Uh-oh's not good. It's like, oops. Oh crap is worse, and then oh Shizmet is even worse.
Yeah. And it goes downhill from there.
Yeah. Quickly. This is that I did find the little board from Azatrax that does this one does the spring. He's got it marked that way. They also have a reversing board and other stuff there. A lot of electronic stuff. And it's not very expensive. I want to say these were $30 roughly, but it comes with the infrared sensors to set up. Good paperwork shows you how to set it up, depending on what you're wanting to do. And it works great. The one that I've put in works really, really, really well. So if you're needing something like that, Azatrax.
$30, that's not a bad price.
Yeah, it's I don't remember exactly what it is, but I want to say it's low 30s.
Right.
May have been high 20s. I don't know. I don't remember offhand, but.
Oh, well, hello, Leslie. It's good to see you here.
Hi, Leslie.
Man, I'm choked to death today.
There's a few other people I missed while we were chatting. Ken Amos Jr. is here. Dunking Custom. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, my apologies.
Did Dunk change his channel name?
No, he's still Dunking Custom.
Okay. Then he shouted out a guy last night that has a similar name to Dunk or something.
Yeah, I think it's a different channel name, but I think the guy's nickname is Dunk.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
Well,
It was something like that.
That doesn't
No,
mean
you
you're
are
not
crazy.
Yeah, I feel you. All right.
You are crazy, just not on that.
Point made. Point made. I'll accept that. It's gonna work. It's gonna be close like everything, but it's gonna work.
Well, model railroad, everything's close.
Man, you ain't kidding. God. This my tallest car misses this down. I'm gonna show you. That's close.
Yeah, I'll say.
Claude, look at that.
Oh, hang on.
Yep, I'm looking.
That's close.
What are we looking at?
How close that is.
Oh, yeah. Well, you just make it a. Are you talking about your clearance?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
No double
Because
stack.
it had to get flat to catch that turnout.
Yeah.
And it couldn't come down any faster.
Well, if that's
You're
your
not gonna
tallest
be
car,
running
you
any-
should be okay.
No double stacks on the D&RGW Western Arnold.
Around here.
I don't know if you can see the bumps on my head. I wiped my head just a minute ago downstairs and yesterday on the car.
Oh no.
So I have all kinds of clearance issues.
Oh, shoot. Oh, crap.
Yeah, that's the one thing I fretted about doing this mountain in the Helix is I made sure I had it up big enough. The nice thing is the HON3 stuff is not much bigger than N scale. You know, they're pretty small compared to the HO stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even my HO stuff, most of it will go through there okay. Hang on, I wish I could find that thing. It's here.
I'm not going to pull that mountain out for a long time.
Famous last words.
Yeah,
was
now
a
that
pain-
you said that.
That was a pain in the
Yeah.
ass. Well, I can't say house. Sorry. Pain in the
That's
boot.
when it'll come back and get you.
Now, my understanding is that Cousin Vinny's premiere today has a surprise of some sort. Do you recall him discussing that?
I remember him saying something about it, but I don't know what the surprise is, of course.
Yeah, me either. He made it sound like that somebody had a couple people had requested some special stuff and that he was doing it, and so I'm kind of intrigued as to what we're going to see today from him. So I'm going to mute my mic before I hammer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Well, here's a still can't find what I was looking for, but here's a size comparison: HO scale, narrow gauge.
Wow, there's a big difference.
There's
There
a
is.
huge difference. Yeah, huge difference in size.
Wow.
You know, and I, if I set one of my steam engines down narrow gauge steam engines down next to a GP7 that I've got. GP7's bigger than the steam engine.
Wow.
Including the tender.
Wow.
But that's one reason that, you know, they're kind of finicky and always have been. I mean, if you go back and read about the guys that had to get the Japanese brass engines because that's the only people that made them, and they were having to scratch build their cars and everything else in their track because nobody offered that stuff commercially,
right.
You know, back in the 60s and stuff. And they're always talking. That's the number one thing is them being, you know, everything being real finicky because of the size.
Sure.
But then a lot of guys, I'm using code 70 rail, which is big for narrow gauge.
Right.
But most of the guys use 55 and 40.
Wow.
And you know, 40 is pretty small.
Yeah, it is.
And even on a narrow gauge wheel set truck, the flange is still down on top of your spikes.
Right.
So that's why I didn't go that way. I thought the 70 would give me a little more clearance with ballast and spikes and all that stuff, which it does. And, you know, it's not that big a deal. I'm not going to have anybody in here going, that's not the right size rail.
No rivet counters allowed.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can say it, but it won't make any difference to me.
I lost my super glue.
Uh-oh, I don't have it. But I do know where my super glue is. I just can't find that silly switch motor package.
Well, send me your super glue.
Doesn't have a lid on it. Can't guarantee you the quality when it gets there.
Well, it's better than mine because there it is. I found it.
Yeah, see.
Well, if it doesn't have a lid on it, you can't guarantee the quality where it's sitting.
Oh, here's something else I can show you. Is that automatic turnout machine or board mounted?
Okay.
That's where I've got the one on this end mounted. The other one will be on the other side of the layout because that's where the loop comes out. But it's pretty easy to wire up. And the wires you see here are the infrareds right here.
Okay.
And then the power's coming in here. And then this is going to the turnout. Oop. Helps if I keep it on camera. Here's the power.
Right.
These are the infrareds. This is going to the turnout motor.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple to hook up. So if you need that kind of thing, those work really well. So anyway, and I'm completely lost because I don't know what I did with those turnout motors.
Could have been last night's refreshments.
Well, actually, it could be, but it wasn't because I didn't have any good ones. I didn't have any good refreshments last night because I had too many the night before, I think. Okay. Now, okay, somebody that has done sculpt and mold. What is it? What's the mixture?
Simon.
What's that? Sculpt and molten water?
Yeah.
Till you get like cottage cheese. That's what I've
Okay,
never done. I've never measured it.
Okay, this says 2 parts sculpt mold and 1 part water.
That's probably about what it works out to when I do it.
I do 3, 2, 1. 3 paper, 2 water, 1 plaster.
Okay. Well, this is actual sculpt and mold mixed already, so I've never used it, but I assumed it was something like that.
Cottage cheese.
I always put the water in first and then add the dry to it.
Yeah.
Well, the wetter you get it, the smoother it's going to be. If you want it chunky and broken up.
Well, this is going to be for like filling in some places close to the track and stuff that I need to be able to manipulate the plaster.
Yeah, I keep it more on the wet side then.
Yeah.
Okay. The hydrocal is a little too runny And if you mix it thick, then it dries so fast you don't have any time to work with it.
Yeah.
So
Roy suggests a little thicker than pancake mix.
okay, can do that. I make killer pancakes. So, well, of course, my pancakes are always thin, so
Oh man,
I'll have to thicken them up quite a bit.
I'm coming over to your house, Claude. Man, you are always eating. You've always got this good stuff.
No, I
Every
make
time we're out
pancakes.
here
I make
working-
pancakes like crepes
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
do
like those big fat
Me neither.
sponge pancakes that you get at the pancake place. That's too much food in my stomach.
That reminds me of that movie Talladega Nights. Y'all ever seen Talladega Nights?
Nah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind.
We have
Well, come
Ron
on, do
Marsh
Ricky
here.
Bobby for us. Come on.
We-
I do know the character that's in it.
We have Ron
I was
Marsh
gonna
here
say-
from Ron's Trains and Things. Welcome, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey,
I was
Ron.
I was gonna say, if you know Ricky Bobby, but you haven't seen the movie.
Well, the guy that plays Ricky Bobby, I'm not a big fan of him.
Oh, okay.
I
I
know.
understand that.
I've never been a big fan. I didn't like him when he was on Saturday Night Live. So
If people get on your nerves, I get that.
yeah. Well, he's okay, but most of the movies that he does are just kind of too juvenile for me. And I like some slapstick stuff, but he gets a little crazy.
That's why I'm not a big fan of Jim Carrey. He's a good actor, but the slapstick and he gets a little crazy.
Yeah. And and he's got a good mind too, as far as how he does stuff.
The only movie I think I saw him that I really liked was, and forgive me, I can't remember the name, but they were trying to save an old movie theater. And he played a fairly serious part in that. And I was like, dang, that guy, he's a good actor, but
yeah.
He gets a little crazy sometimes. I'm not a Jim Carrey fan.
Yeah, I remember watching the Truman Show and thinking I couldn't kill myself soon enough. That was one of the dumbest. It had a really good premise to the movie, but then the script was just really, really bad.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
Enough
of that mess. I still can't find those switch motors.
check your pants pocket.
I checked them already. I've checked everywhere in here 3 times. That's what's making me mad.
Oh, I hate that.
It'll
And
make
then
it even
you
madder
find-
when you find them.
Yeah, well, and I know it's in here somewhere because I just moved it the other day.
Well, what's really bad is when you're looking for something and you're looking right at it and don't see it.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Man, it's like somebody just put it there.
Well, what's bad is when you've got the picture of it in your mind, but when you do find it, it's either setting upside down or on edge or something like that. So that's why you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
But this package is a little bit big and it's blue.
And there's no reason you shouldn't be seeing it.
Exactly. It's either going to be upside down or on its, sitting right side up. But I can't figure out where I put it.
Claude, Chuck wants to know if the back of the helix is open.
No, it's not. Did you say Chuck?
Yeah.
No, Chuck, it's not open. In fact, it's plastered too, but I'm not going to show you today. You have to see the update this week. I'll do an update sometime this next week. I've got some work coming up I've got to do this week, so it'll be later in the week before I get to it. But I'll do a short update, and I'll show you that kind of stuff and try to show you the thing I did for the remote turnout over there.
Chuck's got a heck of a helix.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, Chuck's is
He's got a
real
nice
nice.
one. Yeah, mine's not like that. Mine looked like somebody took a slinky, pushed the bottom this way and the top that way. But I did that on purpose because the second level of the helix goes outside the mountain and is the top trestle on the other side. And then it had to come over this way to get the entrance come into it. And then I had to push it back over to get the top to come around in the right spot. So yeah, they kind of go back and forth. There's some straight sections in there that move the spirals apart a little bit,
right,
horizontally.
Well, I'll tell you, Sparky, you've got a heck of a helix, man.
That's a huge
Sparky's got a
helix.
nice one
Sparky
too.
has.
It's huge.
Do you have access to yours, Claude?
Yeah, underneath.
Underneath, okay.
Yeah, see, I can go. There we go. I'll just show you here. Actually, I go in. Let me unplug here. Okay. Actually, I would crawl in right here, and I can get in up there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
See that? I can't tell if you can see it or not.
Yeah, that looks good.
And I can get to all the track in there and anything. There's no turnouts inside the mountain. That's why I have this little space right here, because I've got the turnout right here for the reverse loop.
Okay.
But there's no turnouts inside the mountain. All my turnouts are where I can get to them on the outside. Short of that, yeah, it's just tracking. There's the 2 reverse loops stacked. One coming from the other side's on the bottom, and then this one comes over and stays the same level. And then the narrow gauge climbs up to it to this point, which is just above the second. Just this point right here is just above the second return loop. And then it climbs up and comes out over here on the summit. And it'll come here in front of me and around to that side to one town and around the corner right there and go back that side into the town over there.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go back and look at some of my videos, one of the early ones, I don't remember which one it is. I show the track plan that I started with, and it's really just a rough sketch because it's completely changed from there as far as what the track actually does, but the general concept is still there. The yard's still where I was going to put the yard, and the helix is still in the same spot. Okay. It's on the point of this corner, inside corner is where I put it. Okay. It kind of straddles that inside corner.
Right.
And it worked real well for space because then I had walk into on each side.
Sure.
And the toughest part so far for me was making the drop down. But that worked out really well too. Actually much easier than I thought it was going to be. So far the hard stuff's been easier than what I thought it was going to be.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
still a lot of work. I mean, and I was looking at one of my early ones back from August, and all I had was this first return loop laid. Right. And that was August, and I'm going, God, I did that much in less than a year. I didn't really realize I'd been doing that much work on it, but yeah, it went fast.
Well, you've done a lot just in the last week when we've been talking.
Yeah, last 2 or 3 weeks when we get on and do beans and stuff. Yes, yeah, I've done a bunch.
I looked up after we were talking. I had my head buried in something. I looked back up, and he goes, "You got all that done just in an hour." I was like, "Dang."
Well, it's kind of like when you're building a house. The track work and stuff inside of something like this is like the plumbing and the feeding pipes and stuff that you got to have coming in under the slab, right?
Right.
And then when you go up like this, once you get all that in and you go like this, that's all the 2x4s and sheetrock that goes in a house, and that always goes fast.
Right.
That's the easy part of the house. It's getting all that structure underneath that takes time. It doesn't look like you're doing anything.
Yeah.
And then when it goes up, that's when it looks like you've done something.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a lot of try this and tear that out and do this, and I've changed quite a bit of stuff. In fact, if you look at my very first videos over here on this side, on that wall, I had a second shelf up there already. That was going to be where I started from. I was going to work down instead of up. Mm-hmm. Ended up going the other way, and I ended up taking that shelf down. And it's gonna be at a different height now. It's going to be a little bit different on how I mount it. I'm going to angle brackets, mounting on angle brackets instead of all wood.
Right.
And that's helped immensely, because most of the stuff that's going to be on the shelf is very lightweight. There's not a lot of weight to it, so I won't have a lot of plaster up on the shelf.
All right.
So anyway, that's kind of what that is.
So what are you doing, Brian?
I'm I am to the tedious technical part where I will probably play John Denver to relax my nerves and keep myself from rushing.
There you go.
Rocky Mountain High.
What
Yep.
I have to do, that's exactly right. What
Yep.
I have to do is in 3 pieces, carefully and quickly and in a balanced fashion, get those connected. And so what I got to do is on each of those pieces, I take clamps and I run a piece of hardboard under where they connect with wood glue and connect them level. And then I put then I drill the screws, the holes to put the beams through both pieces and lock it in. And they'll stay level that way. And then I've just got to make sure that I'm 2 inches above the table right here. I can be 4.5 inches when I get to the end. And I got to make sure that that's steadily goes that way. And the way I use the beams is I'll just kind of measure each piece where it needs to end up, set that, and then make sure it's level, set the beams throughout it. So
Okay.
that's what I'll be doing all day. I'm looking forward to it, though. I've been wanting to get this up that way. Like I said, it'll probably be a month before I got trains going up there at least, but 2 paydays, which is a month and a week. So
Month a week.
Yeah, once I got that summit track put in and I was able to test it and make sure the loco was going to run over it, then I started covering it up and plastering. So yeah, I know what you mean about not running trains for a while. Mm-hmm. And even doing the testing, that's not like running trains. That's just testing, making sure stuff's going to roll over. And I didn't do rolling stock. I just did an engine. So hopefully it'll be good enough.
All right, well, we got Cousin Vinny coming on in 8 minutes. Each week we have live streams. Just Nate is at 7 Eastern. Tom's Trains and Things is at 8 Eastern. We have the On Track Tuesday is every Tuesday night at 7. And I think it's Crooked River Eastern Dave is on this week, if I'm not mistaken, because Benny was on last week. Then we got Sparky at 7. And I think that Michael McCarville sometimes goes on at 9 after him. Thursday night is Hot Rod Rodney. Friday night is our cousin Vinny. And Vinny's got a premiere at 12 today, right after this. On Saturday, it's us back on track. And RCW, Real Wicked Canadian, changed his name back to RC Toyman something. John, do you know what that exact name is?
That's who that was.
RWC Toyman.
RWC Toyman, and he's at 7, I think, on Saturday night.
7:30.
7:30.
I think
Nora comes on Sundays at 6. You got Not Bad on Monday. You got on Dispatch on Tuesday. The second Wednesday, you got Community Roundhouse. And then Benny always does a premiere on Tuesday, on noon on Saturday. And what else am I missing?
Well,
Sunday we have Sunday Morning Coffee and Trains with Dale, PRR guy Bass.
How'd I forget that?
Yeah.
Well, and Roy Smith, he also does his layout update on Saturday. If you didn't say that, Brian, I don't know if you said that or not.
That's right.
Okay,
yeah, we missed him.
Roy does the dispatch on Tuesday and the layout update on Saturday.
Yeah,
as he can. Yeah,
Okay.
Life is so schedules but he's trying to get them updated as much as he can. So yeah, he does those. So
that's good. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming today. Congratulations to our winners. Go ahead and shoot us an email. We should have the Roundhouse Gmail in the description. And if we don't have it in there right now, we'll go ahead and go put that in to make sure so you could send us the address and we'll get that stuff sent out to you. Thanks, y'all, for
And
joining us
also-
on your 20th episode for today, our long one. Thank you for hanging in there.
I want to thank Shannon for dropping by. Okay.
Absolutely.
Love you, man. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, it was great
Thanks,
to see you,
guys.
Shannon.
Thank you,
Okay.
Claude.
All right,
Thank
take care, everybody.
Y'all have
Okay,
a great weekend. Stay
Bye-bye.
safe.
See you next week.